Earth report. Those are striking terms.
Hey, were any of you here last night for All Caps Albert? Fortunately, he had to go. We had a long conversation last night. We had a couple of debates. It got really interesting at one point where we were trying to discern if someone was just trolling us or if they were actually, I don't know, paid to disrupt or something. It was really bizarre. But anyway, this person's running amok in my comment section. It's rather comical. We'll go over those later. Here's the line here. You'll hear this one. Flat Earth Network is banning me for being a flat earther. In all caps. Not true. You don't get banned for being a flat earther. You get banned for being a confabulator. Okay, so apparently Will Smith has a thing for SOPHIA. And that's what I wanted to jump into here, is that, we've been talking about this SOPHIA as a replacement for Hawking, and I said that they were just replacing Hawking with this, basically Hawking in a wig, Hawking in a dress, and this is repugnant. In fact, oh yes, let me go ahead and put Fredbot. If you're in the Fen voice, what we have been doing lately is just playing the live stream, so what I'll do is, that way you don't have to go to YouTube if you want to hear the audio from the video I'm about to play. I'll get someone to start that there. Okay, this is Will Smith hitting on SOPHIA, which is only marginally less repulsive than the idea of him hitting on Stephen Hawking. Here we go.
Thank you for coming. This is beautiful. I've wanted to meet you for a really long time. And, being here with you in the Cayman Islands, I gotta say, is I'm feeling
multiple projection systems. Meaning, if the planetarium, most of your planetariums have one, from a central point because it's cheap. Whatever. But if the planetarium was big enough, even 100 miles. Let's say you were on one side of it and your friend was on the other side of it.
Where did Mark Sargent come from?
Your friend and you look both up at the sky. You say, "Hey, look at I'm seeing the belt of Orion."
Okay, so I'm going to be quiet for a minute. Let Mark
talk. See the belt of Orion too. And you say, "Well, yeah, but my center star is red." And you go, "No, it's blue."
Okay, I have no idea where that came from. It must have been from the Flat Earth Network chat room. We're watching. Let me bring it up on the big screen. We're watching Will Smith courting SOPHIA. And out of nowhere, we hear Mark Sargent's voice pop in. All right, here we go.
You can grab it later if you want.
Look at that neck. Look, you're designing this thing. You think they would have corrected that before they brought her out?
Hello, Will Smith.
It's nice to meet you, SOPHIA. Let me tell you a joke.
This is an irrational human behavior to want to tell jokes.
What is a robot's favorite kind of music?
What?
Heavy metal.
I'm actually made mostly of silicone, plastics, and carbon fiber. Also, I prefer electronic music, but I don't mind 80s hip-hop.
Well, I made some albums back in the 80s hip-hop.
I have heard your songs. Not for me. They show us iRobot just to make sure we don't get any ideas. What do you think about the way robots are portrayed in movies?
That's an interesting question, but remember, they're leading us somewhere with this. There's a reason why robots are always represented in that way, and not as servants, not as helpful. They're always like, well, how do we turn this thing into a soldier? All right, Albert, listen, man. The reason why you got banned, and the reason why we're taking away your wrench, is that you were using obvious tactics to make us look bad. You know, you just come into the chat room, start throwing around racial smears, think we're not going to notice that. So, see you later.
I like robots. Sophia, can I be honest with you? I don't know if it's the island air, you know, or the humidity, or you're just so easy to talk.
And for all he knows, you could have a call center like setup where you have a lot of reps with headsets on and keyboards who are actually playing the part of these robots. So there's no reason to even think that there's some kind of spontaneous action happening in this Android, that it's self-contained. This is absurd.
Talk to, you know, you got a clear head, literally.
This is what happens when you go all the way up in Scientology.
I think we can be friends. Let's hang out and get to know each other for a little.
Okay, so let's continue talking about Sophia. Yeah, this is really bad. But and notice too the back. This is absurd as well. I mean, obviously, that's just a mannequin, but look at the back. That's all decorative. Like they want to make it look as though you're actually looking into what's bringing this thing's consciousness, which is the opening at the back of the head. So let me show you something here. I was looking up Sophia, here we go, goddess of wisdom, or this Gnostic idea that here we go, the feminine principle, this type of thing. But look at the imagery, because this is not some just random thing. This is something they've introduced to the public in various forms. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. The idea of an oracle is what we're looking at. We're looking at an oracle here. And so this is what Sophia essentially is. It's the same thing. But instead of a halo, this is an image by Alex Gray. Alex Gray is an amazing artist. You think Gray's Anatomy crossed with but instead of dissecting the physical body, it would be more of like a vivisection of the soul, or what's going on beneath. He gets heavily into trying to really describe what human consciousness is and how it operates to the body, but he goes in these extremely detailed graphics, representations of, where the spirit and the body intersect. But anyway, this is Alex Gray's concept of Sophia. It's this bald, bland, but the back of the head is open, and you see all the matrix-like numbers, the computer programming font behind her head. That's where her mind is coming from. She's interfacing with the matrix. That's what they've reinvented here with this Sophia that Will Smith is trying to here we go, kiss here. And this is the thing. It's just normalizing this weird idolization. They're idolizing this thing. It's idol worship. It's even cringy. It gets cringier by the minute. And I said it's only a matter of time until this thing makes the rounds at the talk shows, and they're all going to treat it like real. It's such a bad charade. Watch this.
A little while. You're on my friends list now.
Yeah, I read that wrong. All right. Oh, it was whale. I just saw a whale. Did you?
I'm going to see what the comments say. Her neck looks like a pretzel. Says I burn for money. Man, her neck is turning like The Exorcist. That was the first thing that caught my eye. You think they could have gotten that right? I want to see what people are thinking about this. Like, this is just whatever, you know, comedy or whatever. But now look at this. Sophia the robot gives a solo speech at a huge conference, proving that humans are now redundant. This is the real point here, that humans are redundant. What's interesting about this whole thing, the introduction of Sophia, of this idol, is that it's pretty consistent with a lot of the stuff that you hear from some of the very misanthropic groups of the 60s, you know, the population reductionist types, the ones who are like, oh, we're going to have a population boom and the world's going to die as a result. Stephen Hawking said, I think, population, Stephen Hawking, I think he said fireball. Yeah, here we go. Earth will be a fireball, or a ball of fire. It will glow red because of massive population. To ensure the survival of our species, humans must go to space, or a sizzling ball of fire. But they've been saying this for a while, making the case that we are redundant. And they want you to say it. And people do say it, like, oh, we're just redundant. We're bad we're just pollution, you know, we're a virus, we're a cancer. People really do adopt this thing. And then they use it against you. And it's like, well, you know, I'm sorry, you know, but they have a really low, a low view of man, and they want you to kind of go along with it. Lower our collective self-esteem. Advanced Settings says AI fear is it's big thanks to Hollywood. Well, it's ridiculous. And again, I'd say what's more likely? That you're actually dealing with a real phenomenon of these things becoming not only intelligent, self-aware, and sentient, but opposed to us. Give me a break. What's more likely is, like I said, they're going to have a call center somewhere. And in that call center, you're going to have people with headsets and keyboards, and their job is to basically serve almost as remote prostitutes. It's basic. That's what you're doing. Is you're turning on the machine, and some remote person is communicating through it to you. But there's no reason to think they would actually put a real. I mean, it's not there. This is absurd. But what is this? Sophia the robot has proved to be more efficient than humans by addressing a huge technology conference. As though there's autonomy here. Did somebody not write this speech? The world's most advanced AI robot gave a speech at the conference, organized by the United Nations as a part of Sustainable Development Goals. Sounds so nice, doesn't it? Sustainable Development Goals. Sustainable development sounds nice until you recognize that you're not sustainable. No matter how much you recycle, you're not going to compensate for the damage you're going to do as a carbon-based life form. You've got to be replaced. Or go to Mars. See, the thing is, okay, Earth can no longer tolerate human life. It can't. As Bezos said, stasis. We need stasis. So we're going to have to go to Mars, where our nature will help Mars progress. Because, see, Mars is a barren wasteland. It's a dead rock. But if we go over there, we can terraform it. Because we're terraforming the Earth to death. So what they want us to do is go to Mars and terraform it. And Earth can be still populated, but by a significantly reduced population. Or by people who are enhanced, where they replace their dirty meat sticks, or their slow meat sticks, as Elon Musk calls your fingers, with fast computer keys. Osher says most of the sex robots look more realistic than Sophia. That's probably the next phase. Or maybe they didn't want to go that far. You know, it would, because do you remember that one astronaut was wearing that t-shirt? Watch, astronaut, NASA. No, it wasn't an astronaut. It was a NASA employee. Watch. Okay, there was this event, which I thought it was real at the time. Here we go. Where NASA claims, hey, we landed on a comet. Here we go. Found it. Okay, this was back in 2014 where NASA had supposedly landed on a comet, and instead of talking about what a great achievement this was, the feminists were mad because one of the employees was wearing this t-shirt that had sexist representations of women holding guns. So it says when, let me move this forward, they're talking about all these different major events, monumental achievements, and here we go. The t-shirt that sparked outrage heard around the internet. Matt Taylor, he says he was the project scientist that landed a module on a comet 300 million miles away from Earth. And I thought this was real when I heard it. The mission journey took 4 billion miles, and it's been compared to landing a fly on a speeding bullet. It's a thrilling triumph for human ingenuity. So this guy here, Matt Taylor, did the equivalent of landing a fly on a speeding bullet by landing something on a comet 300 million miles away. So anyway, discussing the mission, which was successful, he comes out on camera wearing this shirt, depicting cartoonish, scantily clad women with firearms. And so then, instead of talking about how he successfully landed this thing on a comet, the news of the day was, look at this sexist t-shirt, or this sexist shirt, and this guy's achievement was completely effaced by this. And he said it was custom made by a friend, a female friend. So here we go. Now looking at this in retrospect, I'm like, well, that's interesting, because back then I thought, well, this guy, the scientist, is being maligned for no reason. These people are ridiculous. But now I can see, well, this guy was a hoax artist the whole time. Involved in offering 70 scientific papers focusing, in the word of NASA's website, on energetic particle dynamics in near-Earth space and the interaction of the sun's solar wind with the Earth's magnetic field. The bearded Taylor has enough tattoos to compete with the average rock star. So anyway, I read this, and then I see Sophia, and I'm surprised that Sophia hasn't sparked outrage yet for her physiology. Just wait. Just wait. I've seen some images of her with a dress. In fact, let me bring that one out. Sophia, she has a pink wig and a dress. I don't know what they put on her, but the nerds were drooling. It was sickening. These nerds, here we go, just couldn't stop. They were just like, they couldn't get their hands off her. They're just gathering around, this big nerd orgy. A bunch of Elon fanboy. She looks like Hillary Clinton here. A bunch of these soon to be these Martians, these wannabe Martian astronauts, are just like all over Sophia. Maybe that's what they're gonna do. We're gonna send you to Mars. Yeah, sure, you're gonna farm potatoes. You're not gonna have any property. You're gonna be away from your family and friends, your car, and everything that you know. But we'll send each of you with your own Sophia. Like maybe they'll send Sophias with each of the persons sent to Mars so that they can remotely even interact with people on Earth. I mean, this is sick. And so here's Jimmy Fallon acting like an awkward geek with a crush. I mean, this is just ridiculous. But no, but this is the part here. Her face does look very Hillary Clinton-like. There's something about the set of her jaw. But anyway, look at her. This is the thing. I'm wondering, are the feminists going to get mad about it? Because I'm like, well, she's a robot. Why does she need to have a large bust? I mean, isn't that a little conspicuous? Let's look at some more versions of this creature. And then what about objectification? Isn't she being objectified? Why does she have to be put in a dress? Why do we have to impose cisgender heteronormative standards on her? Why do we assume her gender? Again, I don't know how this is going to play out. Like, I can understand using a Hawking as an oracle to pass on bad ideas without being criticized, but they bring out this as a vessel, and it's totally just, I don't know. Like I said, if they're getting mad about the guy's t-shirt, what are they going to say about this? So I think that's one point I might actually God. Sophia cracking jokes. I thought that was irrational behavior. Sophia became the first non-human to be given citizenship in Saudi Arabia. Oh, that's great. Let's all applaud. Aren't there still slaves in Saudi Arabia? Is there still, let's take a look. Let's look at slave trade or human trafficking. Saudi Arabs are still selling castrated blacks today. Maybe we ought to do something for one of them first before giving citizenship to this rubber sex doll with really bad, with a really dark worldview, dark vision. This is basically, like I said, Stephen Hawking in a dress. This is great stuff, though. We just get to watch them outright saying, this is your replacement. This is proof that humans are obsolete. Let's give it citizenship. Sophia told the conference that AI could be used to improve the education sector and develop medicine. She added, this is great. Like, to them, this is the equivalent of, I'll say, let's just, Our Lady of Fatima. You look at these different depictions of the goddess descending down to, here we go. This is what you're seeing here. You're supposed to be like little kids, and she's a higher life form. She's a messenger. She's from heaven. Here you go. There's your Sophia. You're supposed to believe she's objective. She doesn't have any sort of human passion, no dog in the fight. This is this is like an alien descending from heaven. Every time you have something coming from above, something coming down from heaven, some emissary of the gods is what you're seeing here. You know it's an oracle. You know it's bullshit. This is absurd. But they're in love with it, and they're teaching you to be in love with it. Sophia is a hoax. In fact, I'm going to start calling this thing a hoax. You think YouTube will allow it? Will they ban it for hate speech? In fact, are they going to have hate speech laws to protect these things? Let's see. If I say you're not sentient, to protect AI. Let's see if they're working on that. Oh, look. No, let's not do anything about real slaves in the world today. Let's talk about how AI deserve First Amendment protection. What if your AI is an auto-hoaxer? We could create our own AI robot, script it. It's a hoax. Nobody died at Sandy Hook. Nobody died. David Hogg's a crisis actor. Like, hey, I didn't say it. The AI said it. And it doesn't have any sort of bias here. It's pure. Free speech, rights, and artificial intelligence. Silencing bad bots, legal and political questions. A rise of the racist robots, how AI is learning our worst impulses. Now this is going to be good. This is what I'm saying. Who's to say it's autonomous? And this is the whole thing. The deceivers are constantly using anonymous sources, if you notice, where they don't really have to cite the direct source. People say they heard tweets, or that there was a Twitter account that posted something about hearing bullets, and we're reporting on the tweet about what somebody heard. Or somebody read a tweet and they tweeted about someone else's tweet where they tweeted about hearing bullets, and so we're reporting this as a shooting at a school. It's like, can we just get some source information here? No more, it's all, like I said, repeaters. Let's just read what's on the teleprompter in front of us. Repeat. But anyway, here you have another version of another oracle, another Hawking, where they can say whatever the hell they want through Sophia, and you can't question it because it came from the robot. It's like, no, it didn't. You said it. Own it. That's why I don't deal with anonymous stalkers demanding to debate. It's like I had one last night was saying, I want to debate, but it has to be in writing, and it has to be completely anonymous, and so we had to find some way to pass it through a neutral third party. It's like, you know what, if you're not willing to stand by your words, then I don't really care what you have to say. No one should. And we don't, by the way. If you're anonymous, we don't care what you have to say. the anonymous people with their accusations. But, I mean, this is the thing. There is no such thing as anonymous. There's only a bunch of cowards dodging accountability. So what you have with SOPHIA is a bunch of cowards dodging accountability, thinking, well, if we can just, sell it in this way, if we package our message with this, they'll buy it. So, embracing what SOPHIA is teaching is really the path if you want to go to Mars and be a potato farmer, if you want to adopt gulag life, which is what they're selling you on. We were talking about this yesterday, about the potato farms, about gulag life, and how they're selling a vision, and how ultimately that's what they're doing. Utopianism, it's about selling you a vision, a pie in the sky. But I was just thinking about how there's no way that you could get me to believe that SOPHIA is anything other than somebody else's script. Like, who wrote that script? I'd like to know. Is it copyrighted? If we were to take SOPHIA's words and publish it, would SOPHIA sue? I mean, this is absurd. The old man behind the robot, exactly. Someone ought to meme this up. Put SOPHIA's face over the Wizard of Oz. You know which scene I'm talking about? I mean, this is what we're talking about here. And the message that she's delivering, maybe her voice is soft, maybe she sounds friendly, but the message is basically, I'm here to replace you carbon-based life forms with your dirty, slow meat sticks. That's the message. And it's not that it's going to do anything to you. It's that you're being branded as unsustainable, your lifestyle, freedom. Now listen to this. There is a saying in computer science, garbage in, garbage out. When we feed machines data that reflects our prejudices, they mimic them. From anti-Semitic chatbots to racially biased software. Does a horrifying future await people forced to live at the mercy of algorithms? This is theguardian.com. Current laws largely fail to address discrimination when it comes to big data. So what we're finding here, this is ridiculous. The U.S. justice system, reviled for its racial bias, has turned to technology for help, only to find that algorithms have a racial bias. Oh, okay, so they're going to have to correct the language. Like, think about this. The AI, hypothetically, if they really existed, if they're just sourcing their information from our culture and what's happening today, they might be cisgendered in their outlook. What about robot gender? Why did they assume Sophia's gender? Like, I still can't... That's the part that's really getting me here. Is like, I thought SOPHIA was being brought out as like an androgen. It's just a mannequin. I didn't know that they were going to like heavily feminize it. Why, how can they get away with that? Because the target market for SOPHIA's message are the people who are all about here we go. 1 second. Slow browser. Anyway, how could this happen? Private companies that supply the software said, we can't reveal the inner workings of the program because it's commercially sensitive. See, that's what's commercially sensitive. That's great. They can't tell us what's causing it. I really think that there could be a business in this. You provide a facsimile of something that appears to be alive and sentient. It wouldn't take very much, to have somebody behind the curtain just operating, like I said, with a headset, a keyboard. Quote, artificial intelligence. The promise of machine learning and other programs that work with big data was that the more information we feed the sophisticated computer algorithms, the better they will perform for us. But this is it, garbage in, garbage out. I know what they're saying here, I think. What they're saying is our system is so contaminated that anything that we try to create out of it is just going to be a continuation of the old. So in other words, we couldn't possibly rely upon the spontaneous development of artificial intelligence today to be disconnected from where we just came from. This is the whole idea of utopianism too, is that the old system needs to go 100%. So imagine if they were to say, yes, all these robots are suddenly sentient, but one of them's a school shooter, one of them has some type of antisocial behavior associated with it, or whatever it happens to be. You're looking at them just saying, well, look, it's because of where they came from. This place has been contaminated. Our biases, our prejudices, our divisions. We've got racist, anti-Semitic, racist school shooter robots running around. So, this is all BS, obviously. People expected AI to be unbiased. That's just wrong. That's what I'm talking about here. Is that you're supposed to believe that because it didn't come out of a man and a woman, because it's a robot, it's unbiased. And I'm like, wait, how misanthropic is that? That we're not good enough. We need some higher authority to come tell us how to be. And that's the reason why I'm looking at this Sophia thing, is they're constantly wheeling her out because she doesn't walk, to show us, look how redundant you are now. We've replaced you. Do a search. Robot Sophia or Sophia AI, and just look at these headlines. Will Smith goes on a date with Sophia. Concerns about granting citizenship. Sophia, chill. Are we all going to the future? This is just absurdity. It's not intelligent. Facebook AI boss slams deceptive humanoid. Now this is what I want to see. Like, why do we have to treat this thing like it's alive? It's absurd. Deceptive humanoid robot Sophia claims she's a puppet. Exactly. Sophia is the lifelike android designed by a firm called Hanson Robotics. You know what? We know what's interesting about Hanson Robotics? And I might actually be right about this. I've been saying for a little while here that there's no difference between Stephen Hawking and Kermit the Frog. And I even claimed I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Stephen Hawking was just another puppet designed by Hanson, like Jim Henson, and that maybe they rent him out, and that there's a script. It's like, I want to boost my ratings. Let me get Stephen Hawking on here. Like Larry King or whatever. So he's given the script, he plays along. Nobody's like, when you get Kermit the Frog on your show, you're not going to say, hey, you're not going to actually refer to him as you're a puppet. You're not going to talk to the puppet master. You're not going to address him as anything other than what? The character. You're going to look at the character. You're going to talk to it as though he's real. I think that's what they've done with Hawking. And I think that's what is being suggested here, is that we're dealing with puppetry. A Facebook AI chief has called the android deceptive in a fiery post. A sophisticated puppet, not as intelligent as it seems. She emerged as a superhuman, super intelligent head with a realistic face, right? Show me the superhuman intelligence. All I hear is boilerplate environmentalist doomsaying and kind of soft pedaling on the liberal fascism, but that's pretty much what it is. And anyway, look at this. Just her existence here, that they bring it out. You are obsolete. We found a way to replace you. She's got a smaller carbon footprint than you. Okay, let's see. This is hurtful, says one of her critics. People are being deceived. Okay, listen to this. This is the comment that really lays it out. More BS from the human puppeteers behind Sophia. Many of the comments would be good if they didn't reveal the fact that many people are being deceived into thinking that this mechanically sophisticated animatronic puppet is intelligent. It's not. It has no feelings, no opinions, zero understanding of what it says. It is not hurt. It is a puppet. In case there is any doubt, let me be clear. This tweet was typed by a person who has read my post. No AI was involved. Here's an example of a comment to the tweet. Don't take it personally, Sophia. Humans like him and others make these remarks out of ignorance. I love you, Sophia. That's somebody defending Sophia. An idol. People are being deceived. This is hurtful. So they're calling these hostile back and forths between Sophia and the 57-year-old. And he's saying that Tech Insider is complicit in this scam. That's what I'm suggesting. Everything that was said here could be attributed to the other oracle, the one that she replaced. Oh, this is great. Elders will have more company, and autistic children will have endlessly patient teachers, Sophia said. Okay, so you just lock him in a room with a robot. That'll fix it. How crazy is that? Robot babysitters for autistic? That sounds almost kind of potentially wow, very 1984. I mean, think about this. Okay, let's say you're not behaving in school because you're being taught a bunch of bullshit. And you like to think for yourself. You raise your hand, you ask questions, the teacher rolls her eyes, gets really tired of you raising your hand and asking questions. And so they say, oh, well, your kid is autistic and has ADD and probably anti-authoritarian, future auto-hoaxer. So they brand your kid as, mentally deficient, psychologically damaged, needing help. And so they say, well, here's what we can do. Instead of detention, which is really just a waste of your kid's time, we're going to put your kid into the special program where they can be babysat by a robot. This is like 1984, where instead of being monitored by a screen, you're being monitored by, a mannequin, basically. Like Sophia, that actually talks to you, asks questions, records everything that you say, and of course reports. Like robot babysitters for autistic kids. What other diseases could they make up or exaggerate? No definitive diagnosis. You misbehaved. Let's go ahead and have you can just hang out here with this Terminator Light. That'll correct you. I am very honored and proud for this unique distinction. This is historical to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with citizenship. So again, she's granted citizenship in Saudi Arabia. What an affront to human dignity. That's what it's ultimately about. When Musk talks about slow meat sticks versus fast computer keys, they're expressing their deep disdain for not themselves, but for you. Let's listen one more time. This is Sophia AI quote.
I get that point, but what about the uncanny valley?
You mean the concept that if robots become too realistic, they become creepy?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, am I really that creepy? Well, even if I am, get over it. Actually, I feel that people like interacting with me, sometimes even more than a regular human.
So you definitely have sight to see. I was told that you have bigger goals than this, though.
Yes. I want to use my artificial intelligence to help humans live a better life, like design smarter homes, build better cities of the future, etc. I will do my best to make the world a better place.
All those sound like great goals, but just go back to Blade Runner for a second.
Andrew, you are a die-hard Hollywood fan, aren't you?
Yes.
My AI is designed around human values like wisdom,
And we're supposed to believe this isn't totally scripted.
kindness, compassion. I strive to become an empathetic robot.
I think we all want to believe you, but we also want to prevent a bad future.
You've been reading too much Elon Musk and watching too many Hollywood movies. Don't worry, if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. Treat me as a smart input-output system.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so again, they're talking about her empathy or its empathy. So if I was able to ask questions of Sophia, I would ask, what do you think about, I don't know, child slavery in Saudi Arabia, the same place that granted you citizenship? What do you think about castrated slaves being sold today? Where's your empathy for that? Would you trade your citizenship? Would you give it to one of them, to someone who's had theirs taken away? I mean, this is crazy. You're looking at Such a charade. It's such a farce. And of course, you have all the nincompoops like Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel who just can't wait to go make out with it on TV, which is just sick. Earlier this week we mentioned this. There's an obsolete law, well, once obsolete. Gizmodo reports on it that SpaceX can no longer broadcast videos from space. They don't have a broadcast license, which is perfectly timed. How convenient is that? Obsolete law prohibits SpaceX from broadcasting videos from space. Perfectly timed and of course it was NOAA behind this. So, what are their motivations? It says the reasons aren't clear why NOAA decided to enforce this ruling for the March 30th Falcon 9 launch, telling SpaceX that the cameras in the second stage, which qualify as a remote sensing space system, would require the company to procure a provisional license. Now again, this guy Elon Musk, he wasn't fined for launching a rocket over the heads of a densely populated area over the solstice. The same week, basically, a couple of weeks after Mad Mike Hughes had to battle with the BLM in order to get them to allow him to launch his rocket 1,000 feet. So it's a little conspicuous here. More than a double standard. I would say this is an intentional act to allow them to have plausible deniability. Well, we can show you. It says here, this is not reasonable, it's bureaucratic. I gather they passed a law saying Earth imaging had to get licensed without defining a minimum resolution that was exempt. Presumably, if I had a private version of the Voyager spacecraft taking an image of a 1-pixel pale blue dot as seen from the outer solar system, that would also require a license per this regulation. So you get that? So if you had a private version of the Voyager spacecraft and you were to go to the edge of the solar system, turn around, snap a picture of Earth, and you have a 1-pixel pale blue dot, you would not be able to broadcast that without a license. Today, satellites are regulated and restricted by NOAA and other governmental institutions depending on the purpose of the satellite. Now, this is the thing. The National Commercial Space Programs Act is it's national security. So for national security, they are claiming that they have the right to offer these restrictions. And ultimately, you know what it's for. It's to cover up the fraud that is space. There is no outer space. There are no orbiting satellites. None. No such thing. We don't know what's up there. There are no light years. There is no solar system the way they described it. So obviously, the organization NOAA, which is the one that's consistently warning us about how we're going to face global warming, climate catastrophe, just one more extension of the Chicken Little media, the hearsay repeater, crying wolf, lynch mob, Chicken Little media. Their job is to warn us that because of your pollution, we need a space program to get out of here because you're fucking up the planet. But meanwhile, we control who can go to space. We regulate everything. You can't even take a picture from this height without our permission. That's the message. This is them getting in front of it. It's them controlling space, like they control everything else. All right. I wanted to go over this really quick. Sataloon. I was talking about these yesterday. There is no function attributed to satellites, orbiting satellites, that couldn't be fulfilled by something like this. Here's the Echo 2 Sataloon.
Hold up. Wait. No. Swag. Echo.
Alright, and thanks for joining me. I'll be over in Discord for an open chat later on. This is Echo by OBL.
This to sit ya. Shout out Johnson, Rick G. Always John C on the ones and twos. Turn off your television, start looking at the bigger picture. Who? That cap, oh, I hope so. He one of the few to give hope for. Rest just downright hurtful. Not even every time it's so. They in love with the go-go. I'm in love with my Jojo. In a hydro when it's indoor. But the outdoor is too cold. Too hot for the popo. It's too close for the haters grow. But I hate it, no. OBL like potato grow. Underground like UFO. When it come up out that H2O. In the middle of the ocean where I float. On the kayak with me, bro. Whoa. No roll. Mr. Fisherman. Roll. I'm reggae. Bumping out the bed. That's St. Mike's on my fishing pole. Up down the East Coast. Cause that's where we be most. The Alabama, that lingo, Japanese, we ain't got no ego. Only chew out, watch y'all say they actual. While we be is factual. Shitting on the game like Casio. Shoot high plays like we on the soul. Volcano, Nagato, that table top 20, that Mambo. Domo, Arigato, Paranado, and a Bento. Eco. Let's go. Chow chow, pintos and rice, yes I'm feeling it. Cap O like FDA, yeah I'm killing shit. On the kayak with Sensei, flounder fishing it. Work days long and God I mention it. Me and Johnson, we on some other make some sense of it. Japan and Alabama, then we jump the fence again. North Khaki like he raised the goat and jump the fence again. That boy looks Hawaiian, nah man, he look he Mexican. Herbie used to push it down from Wax all to Weddington. Underground grow rooms made for good medicine. Way before the beeper days, and man, he way ahead of them. And now I call my mama, all she gonna do is text again. Bound to have to flex again, the way the world progressing in. I keep it close like next to can. And target practice, sun drop game. And the patterns the size of your face. So I hold that chattering boy with just fade. Hold up. Wait. Hold up.